A landmark court ruling sparks hope for Taiwan's transgender community.
We take an exclusive look inside the electric cab firm that's turning India's taxis green.
Beautiful to the eye, but why are these birds threatening Taiwan's Kinmen Islands? Plus, I'm standing here with one of Taiwan's esports teams who will head to Hangzhou to compete in the Asian Games. One team. Ciao! Welcome to TaiwanPlus News. I'm Leslie Liao with the latest. Thank you for joining us. Leading off with the top story, there's new hope for greater equality for the country's transgender population. That's after Taiwan's top administrative court ruled in favor of a transgender woman. The unnamed plaintiff had challenged government rules around changing a person's gender on official documents. In Taiwan, a person must first undergo gender reassignment surgery before they can change their gender marker. But the court ruled that gender identity is a basic human right, which is guaranteed by Taiwan's constitution. The ruling only applies to this plaintiff's case and will not immediately change government policy. To find out more about the state of transgender rights in Taiwan, Rick Glowert spoke to veteran LGBTQ activist Victoria Xu. Xu is a lawyer working on transgender court cases.
So this is the second ruling from a Taiwan court on the issue of gender markers matching the gender identity of transgender people here. What does this mean in terms of the pursuit of rights for transgender people in Taiwan?
I think we made a step forward, but still we have a lot of work to do, including to change the whole policy, So we will keep going and keep our strategic litigation, and we keep dialogue with our government to improve the transgender rights in Taiwan. We are getting more and more judicial judgment saying that the compulsory requirement of surgery is unconstitutional. So that hopefully we want to urge our government in a policy level to change the administrative order issued by Ministry of Interior in 2008.
Could you just give us a little bit of a sense of what life is like for transgender people in Taiwan and at what stage we're at?
Imagine, for example, if you are a cisgender person and you have a ID card which is not aligned with your gender identity. So your life would be, full of harassment, discrimination, and stigma. People would judge you and, question you. The authenticity of your ID card and everything about you. And a lot of transgender people cannot find job. They face a lot of discrimination when they want to apply for a job. And also they couldn't freely use the public space and all the equipment, because sometimes they would just be offended they were excluded from those usage. This is because of their gender marker is not aligned with their gender identity and their gender expression.
That was TaiwanPlus reporter Rick Glowert speaking to LGBTQ rights activist Victoria Xu. Taiwan's cabinet has approved an amendment to increase protection for domestic violence victims. The changes to the Domestic Violence Prevention Act will allow victims to take out a restraining order against family members who spread sexual images of them online. That includes anyone they have had intimate relations with. Online platforms would also have to restrict access to or remove those images. The bill also covers regulations aimed at preventing domestic violence reoffenders. The proposal has been sent to lawmakers for approval. The U.S. ambassador to Japan has accused China of engaging in economic coercion following Japan's release of water from the Fukushima plant. China has banned all Japanese seafood imports. That's after Japan began releasing treated wastewater from the damaged nuclear plant, which Tokyo says is safe. The U.S. ambassador has garnered attention in recent weeks for mocking Chinese President Xi Jinping on social media. In a speech in Tokyo, Rahm Emanuel said that China has targeted countries economically, including Lithuania, for deepening ties with Taiwan.
And make no doubt about it, economic coercion by China is the most persistent and pernicious tool in their economic toolbox.
The European Union's CHIPS Act has officially taken effect. This means companies, including Taiwan's TSMC, can access large subsidies to expand in Europe. TSMC says it plans to open its first European plant in Dresden, Germany. Berlin has already committed 5 billion euros toward the project. The world's leading chipmaker has also launched a semiconductor talent program in partnership with Germany. It hopes this will ensure enough workers for the Dresden plant and avoid the labor shortage issues that have delayed work on its project in the U.S. In related news, Apple has launched its latest flagship products, the iPhone 15 series, to great fanfare. But the release comes amid new trends that could impact the company's future. Lighter, faster, more powerful. These are all things Apple customers expect out of each new iPhone. The product's most recent line, the iPhone 15, has just dropped. But how does an iPhone go about achieving speedier performance, brighter colors, and better photo quality year after year? The answer is the phone's processing chip. Think of it as the device's brain. Some versions of the iPhone 15 are equipped with Apple's A17 chip, a semiconductor designed by Apple but manufactured by Taiwanese chip giant TSMC.
With the new A17 Pro, the fastest chip ever in a smartphone. These are the best and most capable iPhones we've ever made.
The A17 is made using TSMC's high-end 3nm process, and reports indicate that Apple has bought up TSMC's entire supply of 3nm chips in the short term to fulfill orders. If true, the deal would be worth billions for TSMC. And TSMC is not Apple's only supplier in Taiwan. Companies like Foxconn, Pegatron, Largan, and Wistron are also part of the iPhone's production. Still, the latest iPhone launch comes amid changes in the electronics ecosystem. In the second quarter of this year, China overtook the US as the biggest market for iPhones. But that trend may be short-lived, as new reports say China has banned government workers from using Apple's phone. Beijing says it has not banned the purchase or use of iPhones, but that there are concerns surrounding its security measures.
中国没有出台禁止购买和使用苹果等外国品牌手机的法律法规和政策文件。但是近期我们确实注意到有很多媒体爆出苹果手机的有关安全事件。中国政府高度重视信息和网络安全。
No matter how the new developments affect the iPhone's future, the launch in Taiwan at least seems to be a success. The iPhone is one of the most popular smartphone brands in the world, as you can tell from the sheer number of people who have showed up to the launch in Taipei. And while its success means good things for Taiwanese firms, recent developments may spell change for Apple's iPhone strategy and that of its suppliers down the road. Eason Sun and Leslie Liao in Taipei for TaiwanPlus. Taiwan's outlying Kinmen County is facing the threat of an invasive bird, Peafowl. Our reporter Sandy Chi heads to the county to understand the situation.
In the part of Taiwan that sits closest to China, a stunning sight. These are the peafowl of Kinmen County. Originating in India, the elegant-looking birds were not seen on the islands until 1995. That year, the government imported them to give Kinmen a bit more beauty and color. Little did they know they would one day be considered an invasive species.
金门大概有152平方公里。那如果我们用目前有1500只了，最简单的算法，也就是说平均1平方公里里面有10只，数量是密度是很高的。
In 1999, 14 of these peafowls escaped from a livestock research institute in Kinmen because of a typhoon that destroyed their cage. Since then, they began breeding freely across the islands, causing a lot of problems for local people and local animals.
The boom in the birds' numbers has endangered Kinmen's local ecology. Peafowl are omnivores, so besides eating potatoes and other crops, they also feed on small birds, frogs, snakes, and lizards. And they're so fast and alert, Even stray dogs and Burmese pythons can't catch them. The peafowl cause even more problems during their breeding season, which lasts from April to August each year. They make a lot of noise, which affects quality of life on the island, especially at night.
然后呢，孔雀如果在你家屋顶上，栖息地在你家的屋顶，它每一天叫的声音，像婴儿的吵闹的声音，那你怎么睡？
To resolve some of the issues caused by the birds, officials have been trying to control their population. The government has begun culling peafowl with the help of locals and a licensed hunter. Over 200 are expected to be removed from the wild this year.
我大概移除了，大概做这个移除工作大概有5年了，整整5年的时间。那今年的数量特别多，大量移除孔雀，我们是把它经过验收以后送到防疫所去焚化。
Despite the problems the birds have caused for locals, they say the peafowl have also brought some benefits.
孔雀可以吸引观光客，你有这个孔雀，而且数量这么多，自然而然人家就会想来看。
Some locals have also begun creating new dishes made with peafowl meat.
因为这个食材比较稀有，然后再来是这个食材只有在金门才有哦，然后所以我们就想要试着研发看看，然后增加话题性哦。
Conservationists are now looking to balance the harm these invasive birds cause with the advantages they bring. Local hunter Lee says he's working with other animal protection organizations to establish an enclosed area just for peafowl. Though still in the planning stages, he hopes it can be one solution to Kinmen's peafowl dilemma. Alex Chen and Sanny Chi for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan is getting ready for its National Day celebrations on October 10th. And this year, some special guest performers will be flying in from the United States. Joyce Sung was at the announcement.
October 10th, or Double 10, is the National Day of Taiwan's government. And on the day, massive celebrations take place, from parades to performances around the presidential office. Now, last year, the celebrations featured the first international performer, namely a high school marching band from Japan. And this year, Japan will be returning to participate in the festivities, and it's just been announced that they'll be joined for the first time ever by the University of California, Los Angeles. That makes the UCLA Bruin Marching Band the first group from the United States to take part in Taiwan's National Day event here in Taipei. Andy Xue and Joyce Zen in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
Stay here with us on TaiwanPlus. Still ahead.
I'm seeing whether Taiwan is doing enough to support its aging population.
We bring you stories from Taiwan.
Every day of the week.
Our reporters travel the nation.
Exploring the issues that matter to you.
News from here in Taiwan and around the world.
What's up, Taiwan? Weekdays on TaiwanPlus.
I'm Joyce Sun in Bangkok, Thailand, and you're watching TaiwanPlus News, a voice of freedom in Asia.
In the face of adversity, the power of truth.
A roadmap for a just and open world. Charted by the freest country in Asia.
5, 4, 3, 2.
A warm welcome to TaiwanPlus News. I'm Ian Kavat. Taiwanese semiconductor giant TSMC.
Public buses to be electric by 2030. A mission that begins with listening.
And telling the stories of Taiwan.
In Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
Drawing insight from original thinkers.
And sharing it with the world. TaiwanPlus News, a voice of freedom in Asia.
Welcome back after that quick break. You're watching TaiwanPlus News. Are young people taking all the seats on the metro? Laurel Stewart takes a look at an issue dividing younger and older generations in Taiwan.
It's rush hour in Taipei. Almost 8 million people take the metro here every day, but there aren't enough seats for those who need them most. A recent post on social media by feminist author Li Ang said that young people in priority seats refused to let her sit down. The 71-year-old says it's a widespread issue, but it's also highlighting a deeper problem related to Taiwan's aging population, generational divides.
And in Taiwan, in the past, young people were labeled a weak strawberry generation. They were soft, unlike their boomer parents. So there's this kind of similar discourse of disenfranchisement sometimes regarding the elderly, with particularly young people entering politics, for example.
And with resources short, some people say even young people are not getting the support they need.
我觉得是少数，台湾的年轻人应该也都是很自律。年轻人有他的难处，每个人都有难处啊，所以有时候这个就是要说清楚。
By law, every MRT train must have priority seating for elderly, pregnant, and disabled passengers. But the designation means some people are afraid to sit down even if they need to. One solution could be having more trains or more seats on those trains.
And so it's a matter of how to arrange public space or to ensure that kind of people work out in a way that divides space equally on public transport. And
the Taipei Metro Company says they are using adverts and billboards to encourage people to respectfully communicate their needs to each other.
北捷也有一句标语叫做 hashtag 也许他有需要，只是你不知道。我想彼此尊重、相互体谅、彼此沟通，这是台北捷运文化的重要成分。
But how to encourage this communication remains an issue. Other countries also provide badges and stickers for people who might not feel comfortable asking for a seat.
As Taiwan society continues to rapidly age, it needs to do more to ensure that older people can take public transportation safely and that respect between older and younger generations is maintained. Joseph Wu and Laurel Stewart in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
Journalist and Me Too activist Sophia Hong went on trial in a Chinese court today. No verdict has been publicly announced. TaiwanPlus reporter Tiffany Wong spoke to Reporters Without Borders advocacy officer Alexandra Bilakovska about the case.
What do you know about Sophia Hong's situation right now? What's the latest update?
So the latest update is that after 2 years, the anniversary of her detention was on 19th of September. She was detained in 2021. That for 2 years she has been kept in detention without the fair trial, in the situation that she could not choose a lawyer of her own choosing, a situation that she could not communicate with the family, with the people, friends that she knows. And it has been very difficult to get information about her whereabouts. But at the same time, we've been receiving some news from the inmates and people who are surrounding her in jail about her condition. And her condition is very serious right now.
What exactly was she arrested for, and has any other information come out about that during the trial?
It's also unclear at this moment, and this is also difficult to say what type of evidence the court will use against her. She was a journalist, that is true, and this is the fact. She has been reporting on the Hong Kong protests, for which she was briefly detained in 2019 under the other accusations of picking quarrels and provoking trouble, which is one of the pocket crimes that regime is using against the journalists and the press freedom defenders, for the simple fact on writing about the protest and signing this with her own name. At the same time, she was very vocal about the Me Too movement. She also supported the journalists in Me Too movement in China. She did a survey of more of 400 journalists to see what is the extent of the sexual harassment in the newsrooms in China. And from her result, it was at least 80% of women who were working as a journalist at the time were subjected to some type of the sexual harassment in the workspace.
What should we keep an eye out for with Sophia Hong's case?
For me, it's right now difficult to say how many days it will take, how many months or weeks. But also, it's very difficult for me to say if she has even chance for acquittal. I think, honestly speaking, to be pessimistic about it. there's really small chance for that. Nothing has been really changed in the past years. I would even say that since Xi Jinping took power since 2012, the situation deteriorated significantly. And we see that more and more independent voices are being silenced. There's more and more policies that are targeting this type of people. And it's really difficult for journalists to do the work. And it's not only about the journalists in China, but also for the foreign correspondents and other people who just want to make sure that the facts are reported for the broader public.
That was TaiwanPlus reporter Tiffany Wong speaking with Reporters Without Borders' Alexandra Bilakovska. India's cities are among the most polluted in the world. To help clean the air and cut emissions, New Delhi wants vehicles to go electric. TaiwanPlus takes a look at a taxi startup that's riding the country's EV wave. Staś Butler has more.
In the suburbs of New Delhi, Indian electric cab startup Evira has grand ambitions to push for an eco-friendlier form of taxi service. India is working to cut emissions by electrifying the country's cars, and Evira is seizing that opportunity to become a major player in the country's electric vehicle or EV revolution.
I would say we are pioneers of this ecosystem because we bought our first car in 2019. We actually created the largest EV charging hub in 2019 itself, which was the largest in India at that point of time.
From its 2 charging stations, Evira operates 400 cars. Those function as a fleet of traditional pre-booked taxis, mostly for corporate customers around India's capital. But the company is planning a rapid expansion. From their hub here on the outskirts of New Delhi, Evira wants to conquer India's electric cab market. The company aims to have 2,000 of these cars on the road by the end of this year. That's just a small fraction of India's overall plan to electrify 30% of the millions of private cars on the country's roads by 2030. India is home to 35 of the world's top 50 polluted cities, and transitioning to battery power promises to bring the country cleaner air and lower carbon emissions. Taxis are an important part of that vision, and Evira is working alongside India's biggest cab firms like Ola to provide cars to help the companies meet their net zero goals.
I think ride-hailing giants, which probably Ola and Uber, are not our competition. Both of them are asset-light platforms, so they definitely need a player like us who can continuously supply EVs because they also have their own targets of transitioning towards greener fuels.
Despite the plans, there's still a long journey ahead for these companies. A lack of fast, freely available charging stations is still a key obstacle to success. Filling each battery takes hours with spaces at a premium. But if India can solve those problems, companies like Evira hope to eventually roll out millions more electric vehicles, bringing the world's 3rd biggest carbon emitter a significant step closer to its net zero goal. Lien Shrivampal and Staś Butler in New Delhi for TaiwanPlus.
In a historic decision, Brazil's top court has ruled in favor of indigenous land rights. 9 out of 11 justices voted to block agribusinesses, preventing indigenous people from claiming land they did not physically occupy in 1988. There were emotional scenes outside the court in response to the ruling. These were echoed across the Amazon region, with some activists weeping with joy and others dancing. The Asian Games are set to open this weekend, and for the first time ever, the multi-sport competition will include esports as an official category. I went to meet some of the Taiwanese team, hoping to bring home a medal. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, or PUBG, is a wildly popular video game. It's a battle royale that's generated billions of dollars in revenue. The game's objective is simple. Dozens of players occupy a map and eliminate each other until only one is left. For the first time ever, competitive video gaming, or esports, will be featured as an official event at this year's Asian Games, which kicks off in Hangzhou, China over the weekend. PUBG is one of the titles that will be contested, but the rules of the game have been modified to level the playing field for all participating teams.
这次亚运模式改成了就会是以竞速竞赛的方式去进行。
But PUBG's shooting components are still there.
可能你在路程中是会有加速靶，让你更快的可以到达这个第一个城镇。
Taiwan is sending this 6-person team to compete in PUBG at the Asian Games, 4 players and 2 coaches. These players spend 9 hours a day practicing as a team, and they're constantly thinking about the game's mechanics in their head, so they need to be dialed in the entire time.
我们上班时间就是从早上11点到晚上的8点这样。每天就是固定的上班时间，然后来这边，然后做亚运的练习这样子。
While teamwork is a vital component to success in PUBG, the team is practically silent when they practice. That's because their chemistry is fine-tuned to near perfection. In fact, a lot of the time their communication is nonverbal.
默契如何？一个眼神，一个动作。
就是把我们原本制定好的路线，然后该打什么，就是尽可能把它打好。
我们要就是做好保持的状态，因为我们平常训练的都训练到了。
With the games just days away, the team is feeling optimistic about their prospects.
前3跑不掉，我觉得前3跑不掉。
And they say there's only one other team at the competition that stands in their way of winning gold.
一定会是中国队。
他们上一次在澳门那边打的感觉，就是总是比我们快一点点。
If they can get past their rivals, they'll have a good chance of success and making history as one of the first Asian Games esports champions. Thank you for watching TaiwanPlus News. Now, if you like what you saw, please consider downloading the TaiwanPlus app or checking out our website or social media. I'm Leslie Liao. Take care, and I'll see you next time.